do the trick. There we go. All right. Well, I am back, folks. This USB cord here isn't any good. Let's throw it in the garbage. On March 13th, I noticed that all my Facebook posts were down. And I knew something wasn't right. So I got to looking at it, and I thought at that time that that I might have been hacked. So you should be able to hear me now. Yeah, you should be. I'm seeing input now, so you should be able to hear me. You couldn't hear me at first, but you should be able to hear me now, Margaret. The USB cord I was using with my mic wasn't working, but it should be there now. I see audio. I see the audio here now. So I changed I changed the password on my Facebook because that's what that they tell you to do. So I changed the password on my Facebook. And whenever I went to go and get back into my Facebook book, everything was gone. So a hacker, I don't know why they hacked me, but they did. They certainly weren't going to get anything as far as monetary gain off of that from me. So I have no idea. But thank goodness, and I tried hard. And I'll tell you what, folks, the customer service at Facebook is awful. I mean, just awful. You can't get in touch with the real person, and when you do, they don't really do anything. So I knew I was going to have to do something to try to get my Facebook page back. I mean, I've worked 10 years or so to get this thing built up, and a lot of you depend on it. So I contacted a lady up at KSWO, who's our parent station, our sister station up there in Lawton. And she ran it up the flagpole through the Gray Company, the Gray Corporation, which is the main company that owns us, and they got it fixed for me, just like that. But you or I, if we try to go straight through to them, they don't do nothing. So sometimes you got to pull some strings. All right, so enough about that. I'm going to talk a little bit about weather and what's going on. And in my absence, I was still working on News Channel 6. I was off some last week, but I just wasn't on Facebook. I did a little bit on YouTube, not a whole lot. And hey, while in my absence, I was able to get on Twitch, another one called Trovo, I think, TrueView or something like that. So, I mean, I've got multiple platforms now, so hopefully we can get the word out. So we got a little threat for some thunderstorms coming into play this time tomorrow. Let's switch sources here, and I can show you what I'm talking about. So there it is. You can see that red area there tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. In fact, we can go full screen here with this, I think. So there it is. You got a storm system that's coming in from out west. It's kind of a slow-moving storm system. But the storm system is bringing a cold front that should be dropping into perhaps central or southwestern Oklahoma tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. Out ahead of that, you got moisture surge again, warm, moist air coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. Tomorrow will certainly feel a lot more humid. And as that storm system begins to take shape to our west, it's going to push dry air or a dry line into the western parts of our area. So where that front and that dry line try to interact with each other, we kind of refer to this as what we call a triple point. And as you get that, what we call triple point to develop, you usually get a little area of low pressure. Now, oftentimes, this can lead to big severe weather events along the triple point, including tornadoes. But this is a pretty weak little area of low pressure that's going to be developing over this way. And it doesn't really get its act together until it gets east of us. So you don't see a lot of spin in the lower parts of the atmosphere associated with this setup here. So what we're looking at will be some thunderstorms developing perhaps out ahead of that dry line, or perhaps along that dry line, or maybe just kind of in the vicinity of that little triple point I was talking about. A couple isolated ones tomorrow afternoon, and then maybe a larger area of storms, maybe a line of storms tomorrow night. What you're looking at primarily would be hail with perhaps some supercells there early in the evening or late in the afternoon. Maybe a threat for some stronger winds as we get into tomorrow night as you see a line of storms. So you see a line of storms as that front and that storm center begins to just kind of sweep across the area. But out ahead of it again could be a little bit perhaps some supercells that could produce some pretty big hailstones. So let's kind of talk about what's going on with the setup here. I'm going with kind of a moderate end threat for larger hail. Some of that could be above golf ball size in nature. So it could be larger than that. High winds are concerned tomorrow night. Not too worried about flooding. Now, we'll talk a little bit about the tornado threat here in just a moment. It's never, in these types of situations, it's never at zero. But in my opinion, it's very low. If we take a look, here is this is the high resolution rapid refresh computer model. You can see you have across western and northwestern Oklahoma, you have northeasterly winds. And then kind of over Texas and parts of Oklahoma, you have a south to southwesterly wind. There is that front. That front is located right in this area there. So if I put this in motion for you, here we are around 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Still have our front in there. Dry line's probably roughly located somewhere down into this area here. And then here we are tomorrow evening. So you got your a bit of front here. Your dry line's kind of extending down through here. So there's kind of your area that you get what's called convergence. That's where a lot of the air kind of piles up there right along those boundaries. And we see thunderstorms develop afternoon and early evening. Now, initially, these are probably going to be supercells, and a supercell is just a thunderstorm that the updraft rotates on it. Now, you start talking about rotating or spinning, you think about tornadoes, but in this situation, the updraft, as it spins, allows the storm to become stronger, and it feeds off of all the moisture and all the ingredients that are there. And it allows for bigger hailstones to form, and that's what we're looking at in this case. Now, those storms do make their way up towards Lawton. Some more develops tomorrow evening. By this point in time, at 11 o'clock, you have your area of low pressure or your little storm center about right in there. There's your front, and here's your dry line. At about 11 o'clock tomorrow night. And what you're going to see is this area of low pressure is going to zip by to the east, and that's going to drag this cold front down to the south. And look at how, as that front begins to surge eastward, and that storm center surges eastward, a pretty good line of thunderstorms develops in the middle of the night tomorrow night or early on Friday morning. Now, when you see a line of storms like this, that represents heavier rain, smaller hailstones usually, and you also see stronger wind gusts when you get these types of situations. Now, it looks like once this storm system gets through here, hopefully it'll be out of here on Friday. You should see a return of nice weather this weekend. So we got a good bit of what we call instability developing in the atmosphere. That's kind of a bit of an imbalance between the warm, moist air at the Earth's surface and some colder, drier air above it. Creates pretty good imbalance, and when you start to see these larger areas of instability develop, it's measured in what we call CAPE. CAPE is an acronym for convective available potential energy. So there's a lot of potential energy there, and now storms develop and they can interact with this type of an atmosphere. As they start to access that potential energy, it gives them the opportunity to get stronger, and it starts producing bigger hailstones. So with this type of a setup where you see the pinks and purple, that represents some large to very large hail. So that's something that we'll keep an eye on. All right, so let's talk about the tornado threat and why I don't think it's going to be particularly high tomorrow. This is around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Not a whole lot going on. Remember, to get tornadoes, you've got to have spin in the atmosphere. All right, so and spin is created when you have wind shear. You'll have wind directions coming in from, let's say, the south-southeast at the Earth's surface, and then above that, you'll have winds coming in more along the west or southwest. Well, that creates a bit of a spin when that happens. Ideally, to get tornadoes, you want these winds to be pretty strong there between the bottom layer of the cloud. This is going to be our cloud here. So you want let's start over here. I'm going to draw this illustration better. All right, so here's our cloud. Okay, and you need that shear. When you get tornadoes, the most important area that you look at would be from here, the bottom layer, down to the Earth's surface. Okay, you got to have a way to spin. So ideally, to get tornadoes, not only do you want these winds to be changing directions in this area, but you also want them to pick up, or I guess I'd say in our situation, we don't want them to pick up and get stronger. So as they get stronger, it creates more of what we call a horizontal spin. And the stronger it is, the larger that horizontal spin becomes. Kind of like that, all right? So a horizontal spin is basically, nothing to worry about, harmless. But as a thunderstorm comes along and these updrafts in the thunderstorm start to develop, like this, it causes that horizontal spin to buckle and become vertical. Okay? So that's how you get tornadoes. So if we look at this, this is what we call the significant tornado parameter. And what it's showing is an atmosphere that would be favorable for tornadoes. As you can see, it's very low, not a lot. Now, it does try to show somewhat of an uptick in that tomorrow evening. I would think this would be your front, kind of over into this area, kind of moving in. And there might be some turning with the winds in there, but I still don't think it's going to be particularly strong. So you can't totally rule that out, but the threat appears to be low. It does perhaps pick up maybe to our east on Friday, maybe over into the Gulf Coast states, but even over that way, it doesn't look too bad. So, bottom line, the thing we're most concerned with tomorrow, and it's going to be tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, and tomorrow night, and you'll hear the thunderstorms moving on through, will be large hail with supercells tomorrow afternoon, and then some hail and heavy rain and stronger winds tomorrow night with the line of storms pushing on through. Any tornado threat would be very, very low, and it would probably be more confined to a supercell that can interact with maybe that frontal boundary, because sometimes if it can interact with a little boundary, like frontal boundary or something like that, oftentimes the spin can increase along those, and sometimes, especially if they're stationary and not really moving much, that can increase the shear a little bit, so that can kind of change the game. So tornado threat tomorrow looks low to me, but the threat for hail looks pretty moderate to high, so we'll be watching that pretty closely. Of course, we have basketball on News Channel 6. The Sweet 16 tournament starts tomorrow night and Friday night. So we do not have a 6 o'clock newscast, and we don't go on until after the 10 o'clock or till after the games are over with at 10 o'clock on Thursday and Friday night. So we will try our best not to interrupt those basketball games. A lot of people look forward to that. A lot of people are watching these games. There's been some really good ones. So we try not to interrupt those, and we try not to interrupt the local businesses that pay for advertising. So what we do is we interrupt, or the cut-ins would be done over commercial breaks, like the national commercial break, something that would be like a national something, not our local advertisers here. Of course, if it's something life-threatening, we would blow the basketball game out for that. But that is not our focus. That is not what we want to do, and we're probably not going to do that. I will do some. I will be doing some Facebook Live updates here on my page and on my YouTube page and on everything else I have going on now with Twitch, and I've got several of them I'm doing. I don't even know anything about those, honestly. I don't know anything about Twitch, but I know it's a streaming platform. It's another one called Trovo or something like that. I don't know, but I'm on them all now. So I will be doing some on those. And I've got access to my storm spotters now, my storm chasers. I got several of them in the field I can use, so we might try to do some of that with that too. But there'll be very little coverage done on News Channel 6 outside of maybe an update here or there over a commercial break. So you'll get your basketball. The News Channel 6 Facebook page also has a doctor segment tomorrow night between 7 and 8 o'clock, so we probably won't be interrupting that much there either. So most of what we'll be doing, again, will probably be right here on this site. And guess what? You got access to it again. So those of you that reached out to me over the last week wanting to know where I was at, I'm back. It's good to be back. Thank you so much. All right, I'm gonna take off here, and I am going to go fix me a bite to eat. My wife did something. We did something different this week. We ordered one of these meal prep kits. It comes with fresh ingredients and the recipes all right there for you. Everything that you need is right there. We did it for the first time last night. It was awesome, and I'm doing another one tonight. I'm excited about that. I don't have to plan as much. It's already there. I just go in and just cook it, and it's done. So I'm excited about that. I got somebody here asking me about hail sizes tomorrow. I think hail sizes could be pretty large tomorrow. I'm, mostly probably looking at, all right, let's just face it, most hailstones that you get are going to be nickel quarter size hail. As storms get stronger, you can also get, especially with supercells, can get golf ball size hail as well. Baseball size hail may be pushing it a little bit. It certainly is possible, but I would think that the hail sizes would mostly be below baseball size. And that would be rather isolated if we were to see something like that. Remember, anytime that the Storm Prediction Center starts talking about hail or large hail, or the Weather Service starts talking about that out there, a lot of weather people are going to jump on that and are going to be talking about what is being said from them. And those guys do an okay job up there as well. But, just kind of based on what I'm seeing here, golf ball size hail, isolated, maybe slightly larger than that, but most of it probably below that. And that would be confined to your supercells. You get a lot of storms, and usually the hail sizes are a lot smaller with that. I haven't seen supercell yet. I've heard mixed reviews. A good buddy of mine that's a storm chaser said it was awful. Don't waste your money. Don't waste your time. I had another friend of mine, Eric Fox, said it was entertaining. You can watch it. So I guess I just need to watch it myself and just see what I think about it myself. Now knowing what I know now, I look back on Twister, and it was a fun movie. It's highly inaccurate, but it's entertainment. It's Hollywood, right? So, all right, I'm going to go eat. I'm hungry. So I'm going to go eat, and I could sit here and talk to you guys all night and just kind of catch up on what's been going on with me. I've just been working a lot. Really, I've really been working a lot, here at the TV station. And when I was off last week, I was doing yard work every day last week. This time of year it's been real busy start to the growing season. And, I do, I cut lawns and do, kind of yard type work on the side. So that is what I've really been doing, cutting a lot of yards lately and cleaning up flower beds and raking leaves and doing that kind of stuff. So that's what I've been up to. Kids were home last week. I barely even saw them. They were there. I saw them a couple times. That was about it. So, all right. Now I'm for sure getting off. Now that I got access to my Facebook page again, I'll be doing more updates for you as we get threats for thunderstorms tomorrow and in the future. I'm glad to get this back for storm season, because remember, I aim to help you control storm anxiety by educating you and being real with you. Oh, and we've made a couple new hires here too. I'm excited about that. We're about to have a full weather team again. We got this guy named Cameron. What is Cameron's last name? I can't remember Cameron's last name, but we got a guy by the name of Cameron that's coming to us from Mississippi. I'm excited about him. He'll be here in mid to late May. Very excited about him. And let's see, what's Cameron's last name here? You might want to go find him and tell him, hey, what's up? Let's see. Cameron's last name is Lindsay. Cameron Lindsay. And then we got another guy that we're working on. I think he's been hired. I know we're going to hire him. His name is Jaden Knowles. And if you are a OU Sooner fan, you may recognize that name. He was running back for the Oklahoma Sooners. So I'm excited to have this kid. Both these guys here are very smart. Both of them are very talented. So I'm excited to have both of these guys to be a part of our weather team. This is going to be a strong team, really strong team. So I'm excited about that.